the mute. Go ahead and start the recording there. And we're going to, as I said, I'll just repeat it for the benefit of the recording. We're going to start in a seat. So we're going to just take a few minutes to close our eyes and sit and find the breath, locate attention in the breath, bring attention to a feeling of your kind of internal somatic awareness. And what happened to Peggy? And then we'll go directly from there to some movement. So we'll do some somatic movement. We'll do some rolling. I have a blanket rolled up here to roll the back across. We'll lie down on our backs and roll from side to side across our blanket. So let's start. And of course, if you're just more comfortable coming straight into a lying down position, you can start there if you like, but let's go there. And why is it doing that? And oh, there's Mr. Potts. Senior Potts. Want to come have a seat, Mr. Senior Potts? Senior Potts. El gato negro. El gato negro. So if you're sitting, be comfortable. So knees, if at all possible, knees lower than your hips. Your hips are here, your knees are angled toward the floor, maybe at least level with your hips or slightly downward. Might let the eyelids fall closed and take a moment here just to check in, drop in, check in. We practice postures in yoga. We practice the postural yoga to clear the body, to clear the mind, to establish intention so that we can sit. Meditation, pranayama and meditation traditionally follow the practice of postures. So check in with your seated posture. How do you feel in your back? Is there any stiffness, tension, of just a feeling of holding or contraction in your back? You feel compressed, as if you can sense the weight of gravity pulling you toward the floor. Is there a tendency to want to round back, drop the head, round the shoulders, and concave the chest? Is the body fighting that tendency at all? Is there any feeling or quality of lightness, comfort, or ease in the seat? Just feel what it's like. Allow to be whatever is present. Without fighting, fidgeting, trying to change. Just observe what's here. Let the tongue drop into the lower mandible. You soften the jaw, soften the muscles of your face, throat, your neck. You have a feeling of shavasana in your face. And bring the palms together in front of your heart. Feel the press, the pads of your fingers, matching tips of fingers left to right. Circumference of your palms. You might sense the little cup or hollow space in the center of your palms. Thumb to your sternum, thumbs to your sternum, and then drop your chin just a bit, the shoulders back, lift through the back of the neck, lift through the base of the skull, a little longer in the back of the head. Without strain, shavasana in your face. Once again, take another breath. And we'll let the hands go. Let's come from there. We were sitting up on anything but a blanket. You can set that aside. And then we'll take a blanket we've rolled up and use that as our little myofascial tool to roll back and forth across the muscles of the back, across the spine and the muscles that support the spine. Let's start. Let's start comfortably, just low in the back, right across the lumbar spine, waist spine. Oh, boo. A little curled up face. Okay. And then just start to move. Sometimes it's just depending on relative tightness. It just feels better to start moving rather than to try to hang out on the blanket for any length of time. It can be a little intense. If the blanket roll is fairly tight, there's just density in that blanket material. Makes it difficult to lie comfortably, sometimes difficult to breathe, but just start to move. Then across, rolling into the left waist, back across the back of the waist into the right waist. Depending just on what's going on in your back, this might not be the easiest place to start. Generally, the roll fits the curve of that part of our spine. Right, there might just be a little bit of intensity. But if there's tightness or maybe kind of less curve in the spine than is kind of the median or the average, this might be just a little less comfortably easy. It's all relative, all those curves, qualities, relative. So everybody feels something a little differently. Once more to each side. Let's start here. And just notice, has something changed already? Do you feel a little differently, a little, maybe slightly looser, just a little looser in the back than when you started 5 or 6 rounds ago? And then we'll come up. And if you need to, take a little re-roll if you need to, and then we'll go up one stage, one ladder step up into the lower rib cage part of your back. A lot more bend in the back here, reversing the natural curve of the spine rather than kind of supporting the natural curve of the spine. We're disrupting the natural curve here. Sometimes, though it is intense and changes the shape of the breath, the contours of the breath. Might just take a breath or two there, right in the middle, and then start to move from the middle to the left, and then back to the middle and to the right. Twice more to each side. Last time. And then we'll come up and we'll go up one more rung up the ladder. And if you want to, you can start on your side. Right, and I'm right here with the rolled up blanket right next to my chest. So when I roll, I'm gonna go right across my shoulder blades, right through the middle of the shoulder blades. Maybe a little closer to the bottoms, but definitely in the shoulder blades themselves. And you can always throw another blanket under your head if this dropping of your head back that far bothers your neck, or you just don't want your head to be that far back or arched in your neck, head below your heart, right? Because when you get here on your back and your heart is lifted, your head is tilted back. Changes, slight change, very subtle, but slight change in the carotid pressure. But if it's manageable, well within tolerable, then just feel weighty and heavy. The head can come to rest on the top arm. The top arm can be over the roll of the blanket. Once more to each side here. Okay, so let's come up from there. And if you like, you can take your blanket roll, take your blanket back into a fold that might just support your head if you want to have a little bit of support under your head. We're going to come back onto the back with just that, nothing else but your blanket that's unfolded over your mat. If you're doing that, and then maybe a little bit of blanket under your head if you just want to have your head a little higher than your shoulders. So we'll start on your back with your arms rolled out away from your sides, your heels heavy, might feel into the outer calves where they meet the floor, outer ankles. Take a breath here. And so from here, we're going to slide out and up, right out on the outer right ankle. So the knee's going to bend about like Baddha Konasana, or tree pose sort of on your back until you can bring your foot up to stand. You're going to cross the foot over, push the foot to the floor so that your hips turn to the left. Comfortable arch in the spine. You'll feel some extension on the top of the right thigh, maybe into the front of the right hip. And then we'll come back onto your back. Do this first one or two, just super slow motion. So that you can really feel the entirety of the movement in your body. And just repeat. Slide the outer right foot up until you can stand it up on the sole of the foot. Push, turn. So right arm stays heavy. The right arm even might kind of following a movement that might reach it a little more downward toward that foot. And then it releases as your knee comes up. Drop your knee, slide the foot back down. 3 more times. Just keep that nice and super slow motion. And one more. Feel just kind of how you land when you take the right leg back out on the floor. And then just kind of rearrange and balance the weight across the spine and the shoulders and the hips and the legs. And then when you're ready, the left foot, same thing, 5 times, slow motion. Waiting for the breath to arrive, then move. And once more. Feeling yourself again, how you land. Do you feel balanced? Do you feel a little bit crooked after that? Slightly off. To make yourself comfortable on the two sides of the back of the body, and then take a breath. We'll bring the right knee up into the right hand. Right knee more up toward right shoulder. And then we'll take the right knee wide to the side. And then up and across. So a little more, a little deeper, a little more twist. A little bit of arch, but more intentionally spinal rotation. And then again, out wide into the right hand. Up and across, switch the knee over into your left hand, turn. 3 more times. Slowly as you want to go. And once more. We'll let that knee go. Find a balanced weight again out through your 2 legs, across the back of the hips. And then feel and maybe compare sensation in your right hip, right leg. Compare with the left. Is there any sensation? Is there any movement in your spine? Feel the subtle body, feel the subtle energies. Bring left knee to left hand. Following the course of your own breath. Pausing where it feels good to pause. And once again. And we'll return again to your 2 legs extended. Pausing here to notice left leg and the left hip, the nerves of the left leg. Let's bring the feet up to stand on the floor. And then from there, can you bring both knees into your hands? Exhale your knees toward your chest. Inhale, take your knees a little away from your chest. Extend your elbows. Feel your spine move. Feel the tilt of your pelvis. Come back and forth or in and out like that a few more times. Twice more. Okay, and then we can let go of the knees, set the feet on the floor, come over onto your side. From your back onto your side, let your head rest on your bottom arm. Take a couple of breaths here. Come up from there. And come to your hands and your knees, and we'll just move through a few rounds of cow pose and cat pose now. In your own time. Explore this just natural movement of your spine, the tone of the muscles that support the spine. Sometimes we move from one end of the spine to the other following the breath. And sometimes we can move the whole spine as a unit. All of the movement happens simultaneously. You can press back toward child's pose. One more breath. Really nice. So let's then take, we'll set up for mountain brook pose. So a very mild, supported, reclined, or supine back bend. So for that, you'll want a couple of blankets and a bolster if you have such things. If you're using, of course, towels and cushions and whatnot, you just want something a little flat and long, broad across the back. And this will come right across that lower part of the rib cage where we've already done a little bit of loosening up by rolling across the blanket. Now it's flat and it's just going to support there. And then I have a blanket I can use for my head, and I'll throw the bolster behind my knees. So we'll just take, we spent the first part of the practice kind of moving and finding just some easy mobility, doing a little bit of myofascial work, some somatic awareness and movement. And now we'll just take a few supported, restorative poses with the props. So as you do, you want to take time to make sure your props are where you need them, at the right heights, at the right kind of roll, at the right fold. So it supports just the natural curves and sort of back qualities of your unique body. There's that for you. And some days you're just super like, sensitive, a princess and the pea, where you feel every little, kind of bump or little fold of the blanket that's a little too high or a little too hard. Adjust anything you need to so that you don't have to think about the props at all. Can you find Shavasana in your face again? Let's take another 2 or 3 breaths. And then to release ourselves from the pose, you slide your feet up over your bolster and use your feet to move your bolster down and then roll over onto your side. Take a breath or two on your side. And then move yourself from your side upward to a seat. And let's pause again, just in the seat. We'll just check in here. About almost 3/4 of the way through our practice. Take a seat. Take a breath or two. About the quality of your attention and your capacity to stay present and aware. And then we'll come from here. We can set aside. Well, we might keep it here if you want to use it for a more supported pigeon pose, if you're going to come to pigeon pose on your knees. So you can use the flat fold of the blanket, or you can bring it back into a little bit of a roll. And it'll just support the floor of the pelvis if you want to come into pigeon pose on facing the floor from hands and knees. So one foot comes forward, and then we walk that foot heel toed over to the opposite side of your mat, and then you get up on the back toe so the back foot can slide back, and then you're resting. And you've got some support here where there's typically a gap between the floor of the pelvis and the floor. And then you can just come down, turn your head, rest on one side of your head, or let your head rest on the fold of your blanket or a block or your hands. You can always, again, do variation on your back and come onto your back for this. Crossing ankle to knee and bringing knee toward chest. And as you feel yourself just releasing and releasing a little bit more and a little bit more, let yourself occupy a little more of the floor. 2 more breaths on this side. Slowly, slowly, carefully. Up. We'll go to the other side. And as always, just erring on the side of caution. Sometimes you're fine in the variation facing the floor when the front knee is okay. And then maybe if there's something going on with your other knee and it bothers the knee to be in that position, you do the other side. You just do side 2 on your back. You just do the variation on your back where you pull knee toward chest. Okay, but we'll switch sides. So we'll come forward with the right foot. You're facing the floor, you'll come forward with the right and bring it over. Slide it down, slide the back foot back. Or the pelvis rests over the bolster if you're using the rolled blanket rather. And then settle down toward the floor. Take 3 more breaths on this side. this up. And then let's go set up a nicely well supported full shavasana with height under your head, support behind the knees, as many layers as you feel like you want to have supporting you or over you. Layers if you just like the feeling of a little extra weight over your entire body, or maybe just over the abdomen, maybe over the legs or wrapped around your feet. Lots of options there. Mr. Blue, look at Mr. Cute. Today I'm going to take 2 extra blankets for my arms, so that my arms, when forearms are a little, the elbows can drop and forearms are a little supported, that sometimes allows the shoulders to drop a little bit more. Just another option. Mr. Blue. Got about 8 minutes for shavasana. And once again, find shavasana in your face, your throat, in your mouth, tongue, teeth, lips, jaw, throat, neck. Could your breath be any quieter, any softer? Let's begin lengthening and deepening your next 3 or 4 breaths. And take your time and just move with as little effort as possible from your back, from your bolster, from your props, onto the side. Or you can rest comfortably for another breath or 2. Returning to your comfortable, upright, seated posture. Any comfortable seat. And then close your practice here with your palms together again in front of your heart, thumb to your sternum, thumbs to your sternum. And notice how you feel now. Notice the space you occupy, the quality of your attention. Do you feel in any sense that time has slowed down? We'll close our practice together here. Namaste, as always. If you have time to sit, or if you have time to just be on your back again in Shavasana for a little while longer, by all means, enjoy that. And be here together again next week, or tomorrow, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday morning in person. I'll see you in one of those venues. Okay, enjoy the rest of your evening.